I know that there are those who disagree with the overwhelming scientific evidence on climate change. But
Mr. President, I've just heard a socialist colleague over there talking about Greenland and the ice melting in Greenland. Well, the question I'd like to ask on this subject is, why is Greenland called Greenland? Is it perhaps because Greenland was once green when the world was hotter? Well, it seems that the British people are onto this, because a recent opinion poll in the Times newspaper clearly shows that the British people no longer believe in so-called man-made global warming. The British people are very astute, and they're clear that politicians have hijacked the environmentalist agenda. It's been cynically used to raise taxes, to exert control, and now it's being used by the European Union to justify your own existence. This week we've also had the spectacle of one of the leading climate research centres in the UK, which advises the government, being caught altering data and stifling debate. It's an absolute disgrace. So I look forward to Copenhagen, when the political class is sitting round the table, awkwardly failing to mention the giant elephant in the room, which is that the globe has not actually warmed for the past 10 years.
Thank you, colleague.
Madam President, in my English constituency this week, it was discovered that scientists from the University of East Anglia were allegedly manipulating data to try and prove man-made global warming. What a giveaway that was. It is clear now that the scientific consensus on man-made global warming is fast eroding. 30,000 sceptical scientists in the Manhattan Declaration, 600 scientists in a US Senate report, even German scientists this year writing to the Chancellor Angela Merkel. Meanwhile, the author of the key UN report on this, Sir Nicholas Stern, urges us to become vegetarian to stop cows farting. Maybe it is not just certain cows that have gone mad. Madam President, I am on the International Trade Committee. I am deeply concerned with the WTO talks starting this week. I worry about a drift towards green tariffs justified on the basis of such spurious claims. These new tariffs are just barriers to trade. They punish the poor and have no justification whatsoever. This is just enviro-imperialism. Thank you.
Mr. Godfrey Bloom, 1 minute.
Mr. President, I take the opportunity of wishing the East European cities well in the coming of the very early skiing season, and snow and ice that's come there, what of course is indicative of the fact that, as independent science has now confirmed, that the globe is actually cooling and has been cooling since 2002, broadly flat since 1998. So we're all talking about something here which isn't happening. I've heard time and time again members here talk of CO2 as a pollutant. A pollutant is a life-giving natural gas. It gives me the impression that some of our members haven't had the benefit of a formal education. Isn't this really just about the state being able to get its hand in ordinary people's trouser pocket to steal yet more tax from them? Isn't this all about political control? Isn't all this about politics and big business? The whole thing's a sham. This bogus hypothesis, this ridiculous nonsense that man-made CO2 is causing global warming. Enough, please, before we damage irrevocably the global economy.
Mr. Bloom, for 1.5 minutes, please.
Well, Mr. President, of course, you can tell I'm a scarecrow because I don't dress like a scarecrow. I fought my way through the blizzard in Copenhagen, like many of you did. Interesting, isn't it, that we've had the coldest winter so far on record in London for 30 years. It's the same in Poland, it's the same in Korea, it's the same in China. We've had the coldest temperatures in Florida, Arizona, Texas, the first snow in Texas, I think, for 100 years. And of course, as Giles Coren of the London Times said, my goodness, goodness me, my goodness me, and we simply don't get it, of course. Of course, that's what global warming is all about. We've got to get used to freezing temperatures. Well, we've seen the Al Gore hockey stick, which is still, I gather, being shown in London state schools. Al Gore, snake oil salesman, crook. We've seen Professor Jones from the East Anglia University, crook. And now, you won't know about this yet because it's been kept out of the public domain, the New Zealand National Climate Database, and I have the figures here, all fraudulent. When are you all going to wake up? Scam, scam, scam.
Whilst the big conference at Copenhagen was underway last month, complete with politicians, NGOs and activists, there was another climate conference going on in the same city, where most of the speakers were scientists, and I believe that I was the only MEP present. These scientists, one by one, demolished the so-called facts about man-made global warming with scientific argument as opposed to alarmist soundbite. We heard about the technical failures of Al Gore's hockey stick graph and the unreliability of weather station data after the fall of the Berlin Wall. We were advised on the scientific shortcomings of the computer models that are reluctant to predict cold weather, and the probability of the opposite relationship between carbon dioxide and global temperatures to the one that we are being brainwashed with. We were shown satellite photographs of the rapid increase in